So I've got the Ursa Mini turned on now, and we'll take a look at the menus. I don't know if you can tell, but there is actually something in front of the lens right now, and it looks like it's hard to see. So maybe if we play around with the menus, it'll be easier to see. And then I'll give some test footage as well from the Ursa Mini to see what it actually looks like. So let's go to the menu here. And before we go any further, let's take that off. Ooh. So we'll start with the bottom here. We've got histogram, audio meters, and LCD overlay. If you turn LCD overlay off, you'll see there's nothing along the bottom here. Turn it back on. Got everything. So the basic LCD overlay is the frames per second, the shutter angle, aperture, the time code, ISO, the color balance, and now you'll also see there's the audio meters and the histogram waveform. So that's what will go on and off if you toggle these. So now let's go to metadata. The auto setting here is this Birds of the Wetlands. It's kind of neat. But yeah, you can change whatever the clip is, whatever you want to call it, or the project name here. You can change that name, and you can star it, and also designate which reel, scene, shot, take, or angle it is. You can also add comments or keywords, which is really awesome. It's really good to add that kind of metadata in. Okay, go back again. Now let's skip over to format card here. So it can let you format whatever cards are in the camera. So if you see, go to card 1, continue. It makes you choose between HFS Plus and exFAT. So HFS Plus is just for Mac users only, and it's better if you're just using Mac. I guess it's a cleaner format and gives you more reprieve if there is some kind of damage or you lose the footage. So go with that if you're only using Macs. exFAT is for PC or Mac, and so if you have Mac and you might switch between the two, I would definitely suggest exFAT. And if you're a PC user, just go with the exFAT. Let's go back, and let's go to the settings now. This is where the most options for playing around are. So first we have the camera. So the camera ID, you can change the name, whatever you want. Got the date and time, you can set those in. ISO. So as you see, it goes from 200 to 800. So we've got it at 200 and pretty dark. So turn it up to 800. Then white balance. I'm kind of shocked. Your only options are dialing in the exact Kelvin value of the color temperature here. I'm used to DSLRs and doing custom color, or if you're in a pinch, doing the auto color. So this, I mean, just really have to be good at eyeing it or knowing what the color temperature of your lights are, or using a light meter, which I would assume that would be the best. So if you really want accurate color, I would probably invest in a light meter. And then next you have your shutter angle, which starts at 180, which that's what you want it at for most shooting, goes to 360, and goes as low as 11.25. But I definitely want to keep it at 180. Audio meters. So we go down here, we've got your input choices, got your camera, that's the camera mic that they have input in there, and then you have your inputs. So I have a mic in right now, and you can adjust the microphone level right here, and you can also turn on internal mic negative dB pad. So this makes it quieter if you have like a really loud source that you're capturing. Then internal low cut filter, turn that on or off. I believe that's for eliminating wind noise. Input levels, your choices are line, mic low, and mic high. Go to mic low. Then your channel input settings, you can adjust how strong you want the signal to come in. And then that's for channel 1. And then right below it, it asks if you want to use channel 2 with the channel 1 input. So if you just have one mic plugged in, I would say yes. So channel 1 goes to both inputs. If you have 2 mics, you can say no. And you can custom change how you want the inputs to come in at. So I just have one mic, so I'll have them both parented to 1 and have them turned up all the way. Then phantom power on or off. So I'm going to turn phantom power on because that's what the mic that I have plugged in needs. And then speaker volume for how loud you want it to play back. Next, you've got your recording options. So we're starting at the lowest quality here. We have ProRes. Oh, no, there's one more lower quality. ProRes Proxy. And you can go up to the next highest quality, ProRes LT, ProRes 422, ProRes HQ. Then you have RAW 3:1 and just RAW. So with RAW, you can only shoot in the resolution of 4000 by 2160, and it takes up a lot of space when you shoot on that. So you need a big card if you're shooting on that, and some good data management options. Then when you go into ProRes, you can choose between 4K, which is 3840 by 2160, or HD 1920 by 1080. You can do that for all of the ProReses. And if you see when you click whichever codec you want, so we've got it on ProRes Proxy. Go to the menu. ProRes Proxy, I have a 64 gigabyte card. Gives me 3 hours and 14 minutes in high def. Now if I click it to 4K, now it tells me I have 51 minutes. So whatever setting you have, it'll tell you how much time you have in shooting. So let's go all the way up to ProRes HQ at 4K. My 64 gigabyte card gives me 11 minutes. Now let's see what RAW looks like. So for 64 gigabytes, 5 minutes of RAW, 5 minutes. Okay, so now let's go on to sensor area. You can do full, oh, turn that to one of the ProReses, because sensor area won't let you change because you're just pulling RAW straight off the sensor. But if you're doing a compressed format, you can choose full or window. Window is like a little bit cropped in, and it's if you do choose window, you can crank up the frame rate for faster FPS. So I will leave it at, well, we'll turn it on window right now. So dynamic range, you can choose between film or video. Video is already kind of a finished look. Film is much flatter. You're going to want to choose some kind of post-processing for color grading or color correction, but it gives you a lot more latitude. So I would really suggest film, but if you're in a pinch, go with the video. Frame rate. So regular filming can go to, it can go up to 60 frames per second. And let's see how far down it can go. Okay, yeah, it just goes down to 23.98. Now, frame sensor rate, I would usually keep it at match, but you can also adjust that from 5 frames per second all the way up. Going. All the way up to, I believe, 120. I'm going to have to guess. Yep, 120. So that's for doing the fast frame rate. So if we turn that now to full, I think it's going to kick us down. Yeah, full you can only do 60 frames per second. So if you really want to do that slow-mo, you're going to have a cropped in 1920 by 1080 to do 120 frames per second. See if we have it at 4K. See, 4K and window, yeah, automatically makes you go down to high def. But yeah, you get 120 frames per second. So let me turn it to full film, 4K, 24 frames per second. I'm going to do some shot tests next with the little setup I have ahead of me. So I'll have it on match. I want to match my 23.98. Yep, match. Okay, next dual card mode if you want to record to both cards. And then you also have time-lapse interval. So let's see, it goes as low as 2 frames and as long as 10 minutes for intervals. Finally, display. So this is what you see on this little display here. So you can look at it, you can see on this display either the film wide dynamic range or the video. You can also turn up the brightness here. Pretty dark. I like mine pretty bright. Zebra on or off. If zebra's on, you can then adjust how much zebra you want. So if it's on, you see that little zebraing pattern if anything is too bright. I don't think anything's too bright on my little screen here. Go back, display settings. So now we're at the SDI mode. So I don't have any kind of SDI options right now, anything plugged into it, but it looks like you can choose between Ultra and HD. Frame guidelines. So let's choose between like the standard frame sizes here. So keep mine at, come on, 1.85. Okay, so we've got our guide opacity, goes from 75, oh no, it goes all the way down to 25 and all the way up to 100. Then LCD overlays, all guides, status, or off. LCD meters, both histogram, audio, none. I've done both. Main SDI overlays, these are all the same choices that you had above, just for your SDI options here. Then front SDI overlays, same deal, same options. Then you can also have your battery voltage display on or off. So that's everything that you can mess around with in the menus here on the Ursa Mini. So next we're actually going to look at what I have in front of the camera here and see how it turns out. Let me move the camera out of the way and show you what we're looking at. I am on a Canon 70D right now, decent little DSLR camcorder. Woo. And this is what we're looking at. So we'll see how that turns out on the Ursa Mini. Okay, thanks.